Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Kalika and you're gonna be a craftier person after watching this video. Don't you dare make that until I get to the window. You got it, chief? So I work at a popular ice cream franchise and my store also sells your normal fast food. I say this because I know there's some specific stores out there that are just ice cream. I work in the ice cream section. I deal with anything ice cream, duh, blended drinks and baked treats on the daily. I always wear a headset so I can listen to drive-thru orders and help make sure the drive-thru keeps good times by staying on top of everything. This one night we were absolutely slammed on the drive-thru. Thankfully, front didn't have any orders, so my partner and I didn't need to worry as much. This one lady comes up to the speaker, orders her food, and then she orders one of our parfaits, which consists of hot fudge, peanuts, and ice cream. We were still a couple of orders behind in my station, so I didn't worry too much about hurrying to get it done. But that is when the lady gets snarky with our drive-thru person. "Don't you dare make that until I get to the window," she says. "Every time I come here, the parfait is always completely melted." My manager pipes in with her sickeningly nice tone of voice. "If you'd like, we can replace the hot fudge with cold fudge because the hot fudge is what makes the ice cream melt." She doesn't usually treat customers like children, but this lady needed this treatment. No," the lady responds, audibly offended and sounding as though my manager had just asked her the dumbest, most obvious question in the world. "I want it normal." Now, if she requested nicely that we wait on making her parfait, I would have asked our drive-thru person to let me know as soon as the car in front of her drove off so I could make her parfait as fast as possible to give her the best non-melted parfait she's ever received. But because she had to talk to him and my manager like that, everyone with headsets shared the exact same thought. She wants it made when she gets to the window, so be it. When our drive-thru person told me she was at the window, I went in slow motion. This lady had been waiting at least 5 minutes in the line at this point thanks to the people in front of her ordering a lot from the grill section. I was sure she wouldn't mind waiting another minute or so for her parfait. I paced myself so that her fast food got to her first, slowly but surely making the parfait. After all, she didn't specifically say anything about making it fast, right? Yes, the hot fudge started melting the bottom layer of ice cream, but surely it was better than it being completely melted. After the parfait was done, we got it out and continued on with our lives. But I desperately wish I could have seen the look on her face while she waited more time than necessary for something that most likely still melted by the time she got home. Moral of the story, don't be a snarklord to fast food workers, especially on a busy night. They have the ability to make everything a little more mildly inconvenient for you, and you could end up being the butt of their jokes for months to come. I've always said it's a really good rule of thumb to not piss off someone making your food. You start at 7, you finish at 7. Not sure if this truly belongs here, but here it goes. I used to work at a car company about 2 or 3 years ago as a telephonist on the night shift doing 12-hour shifts. It was pretty good, 4 days working, 3 days off, and the pay was decent. However, most people didn't take their job seriously. They would call in sick or just not show up for work at all, and especially on nights when there were only 4 of us. If one person didn't show up, you felt it. I was a star employee. I showed up early, logged in and started working usually from 6:30. I never took a sick day. Changed my holidays to fit the company's needs and worked any overtime they needed me to work. I was so dedicated to my role that I had worked on multiple occasions 18 to 24 hours as people wouldn't show up for shifts and they needed cover. It was my first real job and I believed in the company. I used the train system to get to and from work and always planned out my routes around as much as I could to avoid being late. However, on this particular day, they were running a reduced service due to breakdowns. A lot of the trains had been repaired using less than stellar parts and the wheels kept sticking to the track when they hit the brakes, causing wearing on the wheels in specific spots. So a lot of trains were out of commission. On top of that, the train I was on had been stopped due to a signal issue for 15 or 20 minutes, which led to me being late. I had shown up about 10 minutes late to the start of my shift. Before I had even sat down, my manager was giving me grief. Apparently they were mad because I stopped other telephonists going home as someone had to work 10 extra minutes to cover my shift as 2 people were ill and couldn't make it in. Now, I hate being late. I was already pissed off that I was late, but my manager giving me trouble as soon as I walked through the door just irritated me even more. My reply to him was as follows. "Apologies I was late, however, how many times have I ever been late? I show up 30 minutes before my shift every day. I have stayed late to cover days before. The train had an issue and it was out of my control. I was stuck underground with no signal to call or text to let you know." My manager didn't give a crap. Their reply to me was, "You start at 7, you finish at 7. You're in early on your own time. Those times you've stayed behind you've been paid and no one asked you to." "Okay then," was my reply. The next day was extremely busy. My colleague had left and only one of the morning guys had shown up for his shift to take over. As I sat down, I began to pack up. At 7 AM on the dot, I left. As I usually helped out when this happened, everyone was surprised and asked me where I was going. My only reply was, I start at 7, I finish at 7. This was my final shift, and so I was off for the next few days. On my first shift back, I get pulled into the office by my manager with HR. They asked me why I left a single telephonist on their own. I looked at my manager and repeated the exact same words that were said to me. My manager informed me that I start at 7, I finish at 7. The look on HR's face was priceless. She was pissed. She already had a staff issue to deal with, and on top of that, one of her most helpful staff members had been mugged off by a manager. She told me to go back to my desk and she needed to speak to the manager in question. 20 minutes later, the manager came back in looking absolutely defeated. He never ever said anything to me again about being late. I'm that kind of person too, where I show up early to work. If my manager had said that to me, then I would do the exact same thing as them. The thing I hate about putting extra effort in at large companies is instead of maybe getting noticed and maybe being in good standing to get promoted, it just becomes something that is expected of you, and that's really aggravating. No promotion, no more training. So this goes back to high school when I worked at a sandwich shop. I started at one location and then helped open another where I stayed. Since I already knew how to work there, I was tasked to help train the new employees. I did not have a problem with it because I was young and thought I was being a company man. Well, you're able to get a promotion to lead, which comes with a raise, and you're actually supposed to train the new people. I was passed over for the lead promotion a couple of times, and every time I asked the store manager, he said I would be with the next group. Well, I had enough of their excuses of why they wanted me to train yet not get the proper pay for it. So next round of new hires comes in, and guess who they asked to help train? I tell them I'm not a lead and I can't train. The assistant manager was shocked and thought I was a lead this whole time. He understood and didn't push it. The next day I worked with the manager and he was upset that the new hires were not trained. I told him no one was here that was a lead. He said that I was here and I could have trained them. I said I would have if I wasn't passed over for a promotion 2 other times. Why doesn't he get the leads here on weekends and train? He knew he messed up. I wasn't going to train the new guys today either, so it was a huge waste of money to have them there without a trainer. The next go around I was promoted to lead and now able to train new hires. My mother would never eat that. This is a long one, so hang in there folks. So I work in an NHS hospital. For those unfamiliar with the NHS, it's the healthcare system in the UK, where most aspects of healthcare are paid for by national insurance, which comes out of your wage slip and funds the NHS. As well as this, all food provided by the NHS is covered. I can honestly say I'm very proud to work there, and I hope I do for many years to come. I was in work when the kitchen staff were asking patients what they would like for dinner. I heard patient B request a roast lamb dinner and an egg custard. Some pastry thing, Brits love it, I think it's vile. Patient B had full capacity, but her daughter usually sat with her in the hospital even after visiting times because most of the staff were too intimidated by her to ask her to leave. Her daughter spent most of the time slagging off the hospital and its care for her mum, as if her mum was the only patient in the entire hospital. Dinner time approaches and I was helping the healthcare staff and I approached patient B with a roast lamb dinner and vile egg custard. The scene goes something like this. What is this? I didn't order this. Yes you did, you asked for roast lamb dinner and egg custard. I don't think so, hon. My mum doesn't eat lamb and thinks egg custard is disgusting. So one thing we agreed on, she would never eat that. Sorry patient B, but you definitely ordered this, but if you've changed your mind, I can see what's left over on the trolley and you can pick from there. I also think there's sandwiches in the ward fridge if you want to have something light. How dare you? Do you think a sandwich would be enough to fill my mum for dinner? You gave her the wrong order and try to palm her off with leftovers because you can't be arsed to fix it yourself. I demand you bring me a menu now. Listen to my daughter, I would never order this, you've clearly made a mistake. Patient A in the bed next to her. No, she did ask for it, I heard her. I'm sorry, did anyone ask for your input? So I spoke to the manager who told me to reorder a meal to save the ball ache of them making a complaint. So I complied with their request and I brought a menu down to them, where the patient reordered a turkey dinner and chocolate cake. So I went to remove the lamb dinner that remained covered and untouched from the table. Excuse me? Where are you going with that? I'm putting it back on the trolley because your mum doesn't want it. Oh, leave it there anyway, in case my new dinner doesn't come up. Yes, leave it here. I don't want my poor mother to starve. Suddenly, everything clicked into place. Patient B clearly ordered the dinner time meal for her daughter, then would proceed to kick off when the wrong meal was given to her. So when she got the right one, she assumed I'd leave the wrong one there, so the daughter could have a free meal. She thought I'd be too scared because her daughter was intimidating AF and would leave both meals at her bedside. Sorry, but if your mum doesn't want this dinner, it has to go back on the trolley, just in case we have new patients arriving, which was bull because we had no new patients scheduled to come up. This is disgusting. What's gonna happen if her new dinner doesn't come up? She'll starve? But I thought you said she would never eat this. If she wasn't gonna touch it, why would you make me order her a meal? And I thought you were such a lovely girl. You're gonna leave me hungry now? No, I won't, Patient B. Your dinner has arrived. I told you, leave the lamb dinner here. I very calmly went over and lifted the tray off the bedside table and placed it back on the trolley. I watched the daughter fume and snarl as I placed it in the trolley and went to the hot counter to bring Patient B her new dinner. I even ordered an extra side of gravy just in case. I went over with the new dinner and placed it on the table next to her. Anything else I can get for you? Just get out of my face, now. Just as I was walking away, Patient A's sister came out. Excuse me, I've been sat with my sister all day and I'm a bit peckish. I've not enough money with me for tea in the canteen. Would it be possible for me to have a sandwich off the trolley if there's any left over? Me looking over at B's daughter. Well, as luck would have it, there's a spare lamb dinner going if you want it. Oh no, I couldn't. Honestly, a wee sandwich is all I want. No, I insist. It's not been touched and it's still covered, so it'll still be warm. Hang on and I'll get it. It'll only go to waste if it's left on the trolley. Oh, that's lovely. Thank you so much. I then got to witness B's daughter throw a massive temper tantrum and storm off the ward. So a lesson here, folks. If you ask politely, you may receive. If you're rude and sneaky about it, you shall not. Apologies for the formatting. I'm on mobile. Who in their right mind would try and con a hospital for a free meal? That's just ridiculous. So that's all for r/MaliciousCompliance. I really hope you did enjoy it. As always, if you do want to see more content like this, then please do subscribe. My Discord, Twitter, and Patreon links are in the description. Any support is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!